What's up, guys? Nostal-Gi-Oh here, back with another Master Duel video. Today, Brave Adventure Package came out finally. So I'm just going to be doing a bunch of deck profiles on the channel of new cards. And this is one of my favorite decks in the format. Maybe not in the format, but just like from the new cards. I like this deck. You guys know I like this deck. I don't know how crazy this deck is comparatively to the meta, but it's really fun. And you get to Scythe Lock people, which is pretty cool. And you get to play Brave engine cards, which is pretty cool. Rite of Seer and Water Enchantress, all that good stuff. So let's just get into it without any further ado. Let's talk about the engine cards first, the virtual world cards first. We have triple Lulu, triple Lily, triple Gigi, and 2 Lao Lao. For the, good monsters, the ones that actually do something in your hand. These are the cards you want to see multiple of in your first hand. As many as possible, to be honest. You want to see just as many of these cards as possible because they let the whole deck just move. Next, we're playing the 1 Yan Yan. I think this card is fine to play at 1. We're not playing Pot of Desires because we have like essential engine cards like the Destrudo and Scythe. So we're just playing the 1 Yan Yan. I think it's fine. I think 1 Yan Yan does the job, does the trick. It's very tutorable, it's searchable, it's sendable. You can even just search it and discard it with Qinglong. There's a lot of ways to do it. And it takes away a little bit of recyclability of the deck, but you still have Shen Shen to send it back, and you also have itself to get banished and then put other cards back into your deck. Without Desires, I don't think this card needs to be at more than 1 in this deck. And when we're cutting cards for space, like I wanted to play droplets and stuff, and I can't really. I don't want to play more than 40 cards because the deck has inconsistency issues. But yeah, so we're kind of just minimizing on all those cards. So that was the card to cut. As far as, all of these guys, we want to just max out on all the really good ones because they let the deck work. Next, we have the Brave Engine, the newly acquired Brave Engine. We have 2 Water Enchantress, 2 Rite of Seer because they both came out the gates at semi-limit. Which is interesting. We do get to play an additional copy with Foolish Burial, essentially, because Foolish Burial gets to send the Water Enchantress, and then you get to banish the Water Enchantress to search the Rite of Seer, and then you're into the Brave Engine. Now, if you don't know what the Brave Engine does, it essentially just wants to end on Griffin Rider by doing a couple things. It requires you to not use the effect of any normal summon monsters that turn, but that's perfectly fine for Virtual World, as there is not a single monster in the deck that gets an effect on its normal summon. Not a single monster. So it works with the deck very, very efficiently. Now, the Brave Engine, what it does is it gets this Griffin Rider out, and if you don't know what Griffin Rider does, it's essentially an Omni Negate by sending itself packing into the main deck from the field. So, which is good. That's a very, very good effect because it essentially gives us a little bit of resilience to hand traps along the way, so that, when you get to like your Beatrice play, you're starting into your actual combo, your opponent can't just go imperm and then stop your turn. So that's a really interesting thing that the deck can do. Now, of course, it still gets, like, shit on by Max C. Every deck does. But we play the triple Ash and 2 Called By to kind of mitigate that as much as we possibly can. Now, that's it for the engine monsters. The 2 brick monsters that we play is the 1 Artifact Scythe. You don't really want to draw this card. However, if you do draw the card, you can discard it from, like, Qinglong or anything. And then you don't have to make Beatrice, which is kind of cool. You still have to make Baron to float into the Scythe. But that's a good, it's like the best of the bricks, right? And same with Destrudo. Now here's the thing, right? Here's the thing. If you draw Destrudo, you still have to make the Beatrice to send the Scythe. So drawing Destrudo is like a terrible brick to draw because you don't get to skip any steps like you do with Scythe. And actually, now that I think about it, I'm an idiot for saying you get to skip things. You don't get to skip any steps if you draw either of these. These are both just terrible bricks. Because you have to have them both in the graveyard, because to make the Baron, you have to have access to Destrudo. So you still have to make Beatrice. So both of them, these are the 2 bricks in the deck. They suck to draw, and that's about it. Now, the only other monsters that we played in the main deck is triple Ash, triple Max C, because Max C runs the game, and Ash is an out to the Max C. So, yeah, that's it for the hand traps. I do really want to play, like, Effect Veiler and Imperm and Droplets and stuff like that. But you can't really fit it in the deck. The deck is incredibly tight. As far as the spells go for engine cards, of course, we have the Foolish and the Rites. But we also have the Dracoback, which is a one-of in the Brave Engine. This card is essentially a free discard, as with the Fateful Adventure that you get with the Brave Engine. you free search Dracoback, and then Dracoback, whenever it's discarded, can equip to your token. So with the Brave Engine, I don't really want to explain like the intricacies of Dracoback and why it's good, but it's a free search with Fateful Adventure. Whenever you normal or special summon a monster, you can then search Dracoback for free, and then you can discard it as part of your combo. So it's essentially a free discard, but it's also incredibly strong going second because it's a once per turn bounce of a card on the field. So, you know, it baits out a negate or something. Any kind of interruption. It's very strong. It's very, very strong. As far as the actual archetypal spells and traps go, we have 3 Kowloon and 3 Qinglong because you have to max out on these cards, in my opinion. We also have 2 Emergency Teleport, and this card just adds some consistency to the deck. You know, special out the Yan Yan, special out a Lulu. It's a weird starter, but it is a starter, and it special summons a virtual world monster in the field to start comboing with them in your hand. So it's just a really good card in the deck. It's really good. And then 2 Called by the Grave, mostly for that max C, but it also obviously hits other things. And then rounding off the deck, we have 2 copies of Chuchi, Virtual World Gate Chuchi. This card is incredibly strong. You want to play 2 because you want to send 1, and then still, like, you need to have access of multiple different type of cards to activate all of them in your hand. Like, if you draw a Chuchi, you have to have 1 in your deck still to, like, get the full effect of cards like Lulu and Lao Lao and Lili and stuff like that. You guys know how Virtual World cards work by now. Now, I do really want to play Shan Wu, but like I said, the deck is incredibly tight, and there's not really any card that I feel I can cut from this deck at all. So you could play 41 and play Shan Wu, but I'm not. I just don't want to add any more cards because the deck, like I said, has consistency issues. Now, if you don't want to play like the Scythe combo and stuff, you don't have to. You can take out the Scythe, you can take out the Destrudo, and play cards like Droplet, Imperm, anything like that. Really just going second cards is what I would recommend. And maybe Shan Wu, because Shan Wu I think is very powerful. It's a good extender, and it'll definitely, you know, I'll definitely miss it a few times with this build, but hey, what are you gonna do, right? Play it, I guess. I guess that's what you could do. Anyway, that's the main deck, 40 cards. I think it's a pretty solid build. Definitely subject to some change, though. You could also cut Foolish Burial if you want, but I really like having like the max amount of these Brave cards as you can because they're incredibly powerful, and pretty much the reason that I feel like this deck is once again brought back into the meta is the Brave cards. So that's the main deck, 40 cards. In the extra deck, the extra deck's pretty standard, I think. Not too tight, not too wild. So starting it off, we have the level 6 synchros. We have Stardust Charge Warrior, Coral Dragon, and Juju. I don't think you should cut any of these cards. They're all very essential to the combo. Now, as you can see here, we're not playing the Ultimized to Zolkin combo. I don't think it's needed because, you know, we're doing one of 2 plays, which is the Scythe or the VFD. And that's really what you want to do with this deck. So I don't think the Ultimized to Zolkin package needs to come up that frequently. However, if, you know, True King ever gets banned, sure. But if it hasn't by now, it probably just won't get banned, right? I mean, this deck is barely even relevant. I'm hoping the Brave Engine brings it back, but we'll see. As far as the 9s go, we have the 1 copy of Shen Shen. Of course, this card is incredibly powerful, and it recurs, so you don't really need 2. 1 Vermilion Dragon Mech. This card is incredibly good going second. I say incredibly a lot. This card is incredibly good going second, as it just offers, you know, a little bit of destruction. You get to pop things. It's pretty good. Then we played 1 Gothams and 1 Cloud Castle, because I still really like that combo. You go Gothams, rip a card, summon Cloud Castle, bring back Gothams, and make VFD. And if you don't know what I'm talking about when I say VFD, I'm referring to True King of All Calamities, the rank 9. This card is incredibly powerful. There I go saying incredibly again. I don't know why. Anyway, that is all those. The last synchro monster is 1 Baron de Fleur. This card is really good for the Destrudo combo, as it summons back the Scythe. It's needed for the combo, unfortunately. Next, for the rank 3, I only am playing Breaksword. I do like cards like Totem Bird, Bamboozling Gossip Shadow. That's probably it, the rank 3s that I would consider. But I really like Breaksword. I think it, you know, has that Scrap Dragon-esque effect that's really powerful. But more importantly, you just summon it, and then attack, and then make Downard, and then make Zeus. And that's really what you want to do with the rank 3 package. That's really it. As far as the rank 6s go, we have Beatrice. Beatrice is essential for the combo. You make Beatrice, you send Destrudo, you bring back Destrudo, you banish Chuchi to raise the level of your guy. Now you have a level 10 synchro play. You summon Baron, and then on their turn, on their draw phase, you use Beatrice, send the Scythe, and then on their standby phase, bounce Baron back to summon out the Scythe from the graveyard, therefore Scythe locking your opponent. It's pretty good against every deck other than Floowandereeze and like Eldritch, I guess. You know, it's very good though. Next we have Ptolemy M7. This card's pretty solid. You know, being able to like in like, you know, more so grinded out game states where it's a very simplified game state. You make M7, add back, you know, Maxi or Ash, probably Ash in a simplified game state, and then you overlay Zeus on top, and it's very, very strong in a simplified game state. Ash, Zeus, it's very, very strong. So that's the main reason we have that. Now we also have Fan. This card is really strong going second a lot of the time, especially with DPE being a really big part of the meta. You bait out the DPE, very easy to do with this deck, as basically any reveal makes them pop, you know, the thing that you targeted with the revealed virtual world monster. And then you make Fan, banish their DPE and Celestial, get rid of, you know, potentially or like DPE or something, and then a card on field, and it's just very strong. Like Fan is just a very strong card. And I would love to play Gaia in this deck, Thunder Gaia, the Dragon Charger, to overlay to make Zeus more powerful on things like Fan, and but we don't really have room. The extra deck's a little tight. You can cut this card, you can cut the Gotems, because Cloud Castle play works with either of these as well. I just like the extra rip, and I think going for that play is really powerful. But you could definitely play Gaia, right? You could definitely cut it for Gaia if you want to. Anyway, that is really it for the deck. I think I went over a pretty good amount of options and stuff. So that's going to be it. Thanks so much for watching, guys. I hope you enjoyed. This is the Virtual World, the Brave Virtual World deck in Master Duel. I hope you enjoyed. Leave a like, comment, subscribe. Mostly subscribe. If you only do one thing of those three, if you only do one thing today, subscribe to my channel. That's a good one thing to do. Anyway, that's it. Have a good day. Goodbye.